UI component, Form, New Edit Save, Action Controllers. From the grid, you may see the button Add New Game on the top right, which will forward us to the form. App, Code, Unit 2, Computer Games, Controller, Admin HTML, Game, Edit.php. This is quite common, since adding a new entity and editing an existing one is usually done using similar forms. To save form, we have the Save Action Controller. App, Code, Unit 2, Computer Games, Controller, Admin HTML, Game, Save.php. The Save Action Controller extends the Magento Backend App Action class, which then implements the execute method from Magento Framework App Action Interface class and saves all the data from the form. The Layout XML and UI component configuration for the form page. First, the Layout XML. This file needs to be created at App, Code, Unit 2, Computer Games, View, Admin HTML, Layout, games_game_edit.xml. Here we need to add a component in Magento Layout as a node. It's UI component with the name of our UI form. Next, the form UI component configuration has to be created right next to the grid UI component configuration file in the directory. App, Code, Unit 2, Computer Games, View, Admin HTML, UI_component. The UI component file references a group of classes that represent buttons and a data source with data provider, field sets with fields. The argument tag is also important. The Magento 2 provider item passed in data initiates data source. The provider value, computergamesform.gameFormDataSource, has two parts. The first is computergamesform. It is the name of the UI component. And the second part, gameFormDataSource, is the name of the data source that works data on the server and makes the UI component work with this data. Deps sets the dependency on component initialization. The data source tag defines the component responsible for initializing the data storage using a JavaScript module. This is Magento_UI JS form provider, of which the full path is Magento UI view base web JS form provider.js. The configuration of the data source itself, in simple words, defines the links between the form and database. The data provider subtag is configured in the UI component XML. Basically, it could be configured with Magento UI data provider abstract data provider. We can see it in our form data class here. It should implement the data method. Field set. Here we have one field set named General. The field set component implements a container for visually grouped form elements, and a set of fields such as game_ID, name, type, trial_period, release_date, image, and so on. Let's check trial_period as an example. Name. Elements index in the scope of the current collection that will be used to build its unique identifier. Form element could be hidden, file, input, date, checkbox, checkbox set, email, select, multi-select, text, text area, price, radio set, WYSIWYG. The default is input. For example, trial_period field has trial_period as an identifier and form element has select. This field has a pretty straightforward set of configurations of arguments and settings, which Magento uses a lot in UI components and depends on our form element. For example, select Image Uploader in the Image field. But how do we add options in the Select field type? For that we need a Form Elements node, where we specified a Form Element node, Select, and define options for the form element. For this we need an Options node, where a PHP class is defined. This class should implement Magento, Framework, Data, Option Source Interface, Interface class, and 2-option array method with options in the format on your screen.